on the zoning controversy and the build-up, really, to the 2023 presidential election. Mohammed Hayatu-deen, a PDP presidential hopeful, joins us here in the studio to really have a conversation tonight. Thank you so much for being here. You've actually been a busy man. We could see in that video that you were in River State earlier on today, you know, consulting, which we have been told that you're hoping to get some sort of consensus within yourselves. But let's talk about this issue of zoning. And just yesterday, the committee eventually came up with its report, even if they're not letting us in. But it is purportedly reported that it might be thrown open to everybody. How comfortable are you with this decision of that committee? And do you think it actually fosters some sort of unity within the party?
Well, thank you, Amaka. Thank you, Adeswa. The starting point really is to ask far more strategic and more fundamental questions. So for the average person that is out there, outside the studio, whether they're in Abuja, Umuahia, Enugu, Yola, Maiduguri, Abeokuta or Ibadan, or anywhere else in the country, when they wake up every morning, what are the most important things that are actually on their mind? I think people are struggling with issues of daily survival. Everything that has to do with putting food on the table, securing their lives and that of their children, making sure that they have access to the most basic amenities of life. So the average Nigerian, every morning when he wakes up, as he attends to his daily chores, or as she attends to her chores, those are the most fundamental issues in front of them. Why? Because they have elected people to represent their best interests in government across the three tiers of government. And so in the final analysis, it really doesn't matter to me personally whether that person is black or green or blue. What matters to me is that, are you actually hiring someone who has the competence and the distinction and the experience, the patriotism and the character to actually ensure that he or she governs in the public interest. But unfortunately, and not quite unexpectedly, the issue of zoning has supercharged the political atmosphere. I don't intend to dodge the question, but I just wanted to set that as a background. Now, concerning the zoning situation, I would expect the party to actually open it up, as you might have perhaps heard. That's, I think, what ought to be done. It brings about unity of purpose within the party, and it allows every single Nigerian to actually exercise the rights conferred on them by the Constitution and the Electoral Act. Would you
say that is in the interest of the party or the interest of the ordinary Nigerian? I'll ask you this question because I'm sure you've seen all of the clamors and the calls for the fact that, you know, a particular geopolitical zone is the one who's supposed to produce the next president of Nigeria.
Which zone is that?
The Southeast. There's been that clamor for some time that at this point in time in the nationhood of Nigeria.
According to who?
Well, the people of Nigeria. I'm sure you have seen all of the conversations. Even the Ohaneze Ndigbo did say that this is a political suicide on the PDP, deciding to throw the ticket open for everyone.
Well, that's an opinion. And there are many other shades of opinion that are out there. It does not legitimize it.
Another shade of opinion, while your clarification is a fair point, another shade of opinion is that because of the plurality of our society, one of the ways we have managed our diversity is through power rotation and zoning over the years. And this, by throwing it open, is going against convention because the national chairman of your party is from the north, and so the presidential ticket should go to the south. It's also going against your party constitution, which has it entrenched in Article 7, subsection 3C. It's also going against the clamor, such as the one Amaka has mentioned, by the Southeast regions, by socio-political groups, and by Nigerians who feel we've had 8 years of a northern president. The next 8 or 4, at least, should go to the south.
Which northern president?
President Muhammad Buhari is in the 7th year of his 8-year tenure.
Well, He is not in PDP. He's an APC president.
That's why we say
that doesn't
generality of Nigeria. Is the PDP concerned about the PDP or about Nigeria?
Well,
what is priority for you?
First and foremost for us, Nigeria's peace, stability, and progress is at the epicenter of our thoughts.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, having said that, the fundamentals of the PDP in terms of how it goes about organizing its affairs, being a party in opposition, is also very, very critical to our current thoughts. If you'd allow me,
yes, go ahead.
Let me try to provide a perspective. Number one, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria does not have anything within its proviso that says that any particular set of offices ought to be zoned to any particular tribe or any particular part of this country. Number two, there is nothing in our electoral laws which would suggest to either you or I that says that if you are going to compete for office, it should be based on where you come from. The fact of the matter is that this issue of zoning actually started in 1998, 1999. And the backdrop to that is the fact that based on the 1993 elections, which was annulled, the country was in very grave crisis for quite a couple of years. And so the influencers within the PDP, in terms of the power brokers within the PDP, decided in 1999 that in order to bring about some peace and stability, that Abiola, who was seen as having actually won the election, they need to be compensated in order to douse the crisis in the country. And that was how this thing started as a tradition and a custom. 25 years thereafter, certainly, you cannot make something that was an aberration permanently embedded in the future of this country.
But it was actually enshrined in the constitution of your party, the People's Democratic Party, and that is what your party had used in the past to decide your flag bearer. So why is the 2023 elections, why should it be different?
So I think we need to be careful about that, pushing that logic, because you can actually push that logic to a point where it completely breaks down. I say this because when you go back to 1999, President Obasanjo was put forth as a candidate. But remember that Alex Ekweme competed with him. Limi competed with him right up to the primaries and stood down just before the primaries. Chief Philip Asiodo was in there as well. There was nothing within the party constitution or within the party tradition that said that, it was the exclusive right of President Obasanjo to actually be the sole candidate within the PDP. People competed with him and he won. And he won fair and square. So there is nothing by our president that would seem to suggest to me that willy-nilly, ab initio, that this issue of zoning is being decided upon. That in election after election, you just zone out other people and say that only a particular zone will produce a presidential candidate. What I would suggest is that if you look at somebody like Abiola worked extremely hard, cultivating his goodwill all over this country for a very long period of time. And he had absolutely no problem building alliances and friendships. So that by the time he appeared, he actually defeated Tofa in his own state of Kano. Shehu Yaradua had this nation in the cusp of his hands, simply because they spent the time and the effort required to actually generate goodwill. That's how people contest and win elections.
Okay.
The United States is a role model. Somebody can come out from anywhere. Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer from Georgia, little known.
And let's look at the likely fallouts of this, because we're already hearing some dissenting voices, even though we wait for the neck of your party and we can conclude that it has been thrown open. do you have mechanisms in place? Do you think you can handle the fallout from this if you throw it open? We have the Ohanese Indigo. I think the only socio-cultural group we have not heard from is the Arawa Consultative Forum. Every other socio-cultural group, pan-socio-cultural group has said they will walk against the PDP. This is suicidal. They're not going to take it. It should be zoned. And some are even clamoring for it to be micro-zoned to the southeast. How do you intend to work with this and still win the elections in 2023 after being defeated twice by the ruling APC?
You know, as Nigerians, we like making a lot of noise. Eventually, that's what politics is about. A lot of noise, but in the final analysis, people are able to come to agreement, because politics is the art of, striking deals and compromises. And we know how to do it, and we can get it done. I don't have an issue with that at all at this one.
All right. He says, you know what, they find a way to sort out their issues. And of course, we do know that today, Bukola Saraki, submitted a report in terms of sorting out the issues within the party. We have to say thank you so much.
We also have more aspirants joining the race.
Absolutely. But you know what, we have to say thank you so much. Mohammed, Hayatu-deen, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program.